Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome
to our first ever Spoilercast.
Special. First.
Very special.
A supercast, if you
It's
will.
super. It's baddie.
It's Lexi.
Is that a describing word?
I think so in some cultures.
Oh, of course. Why not?
Wow.
All right.
It's
So,
Doomsday.
Batman.
So
Batman versus Superman.
full, before we get into this is full spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilercast.
Yeah,
Full
we're
spoilers.
assuming you've seen it,
So-
and if you get spoiled, that's on you.
So please come back to this after you've seen.
Or
Before,
Superman.
if you
like
don't
if
care.
if you don't care and if you're into that, like
Sure.
I think what I've been going up to most people, I'd be like, hey, are you interested in seeing Batman vs Superman? And they're like, a bit, not really. And I go, well, when they say it's Batman vs Superman, one of them's gonna die. They're not joking. And then people start going like, oh, okay, because that's the thing is I reckon that actually took a lot of balls. We know he's coming back,
Yeah.
especially like in the very last half of a second. They pretty much say
They could have left that out.
Yeah, they should have left that out. Like, they can- Oh yeah,
Just the kick.
just kick into it.
What happens?
Can we like actually?
Should
We can put this down. We don't.
Yeah,
need
we
this
don't
anymore.
we don't really need that.
Yeah, we don't really
Um,
talk about this.
So I feel. What do you feel about the movie?
I enjoyed it.
You've seen it 2 times now, right?
I've seen it twice, and
Was
I
it better the first or the second time?
second time.
Yeah?
I will honestly say, and like, honestly, to anyone watching this and to you guys, like, it is worth seeing a second time.
Mm?
It does clear up some of the plot points in the film, because you're sort of going in with a little bit more context, and it does start to make a bit more sense once you start
And I feel like
going into it.
this definitely did need the director's cut that we were told that there's a director's cut coming out. I'm thinking, yeah, we definitely need that.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon there's a lot of stuff that didn't really make it.
Yeah,
into the-
I think there's a lot that.
And I think that's why Ben's already done.
I'm not done.
We've spoiled too much for him. No.
Okay. Oh, I mean, there's also a reason why these two are here, because
Yeah, but we had them in the podcast. Everyone saw that already.
well, not everyone's comes straight from the pod, but there's the reason these two are here, because they're also heavily influenced this film.
For example, the deleted scene that's already been revealed with
It's called
what'd you
Communion.
say? Yeah, communion
So-
with dark sides. What'd you say, General?
Yeah. So
Lackeys.
he is,
And he's holding some of the cubes. Now that
Yeah.
cube.
Should we start from the very beginning of the film?
Well, I'm not going to be able to remember it chronologically. I'm just going to say things that I remember off the top of my head. I think that's how we should do it. Like, if you want to go chronological, you'll have to.
I mean, I probably can.
Okay,
recite the film
so
at
just
this point.
present things and then I can speak about them.
All right, so we start the film. We're introduced to this new Batman.
Mm-hmm. The
Uh,
Batfleck.
Batfleck, which, like, how do you guys both feel about Batfleck?
I like him.
I like him.
I liked him.
I like him. I'm intrigued to see more from this Batman. And
Like, I feel like he's a very well-rounded Batman. Like, you've got Adam West, who's like too detective-y, and you've got Christian Bale, who's too action-y. And I feel like Batfleck, he's got a mixture of
He's too
figuring
sad.
stuff out.
He's too sad, Fleck.
Yeah, well, he's sad after all the reviews, but
yeah, well, I think he's a bit happy after how much money it made.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know,
what was it? 420 million.
hoping global weekend. But
Does that still count as a flop because of how much it didn't make in America?
no, that's a success. That's
Yeah,
It made,
America normally just justifies everything, but by the opening weekend in America.
well, America. It made what 170 million,
I
which is
wouldn't
that beat Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 opening weekend.
It's pretty big.
Which is pretty
I mean, the reviews might be low, but I mean, it's Batman versus Superman. They're gonna make money off of it, no matter how good it is.
I mean, like, going into it, I mean, I watched it the first time, and again, I enjoyed it more the second. I definitely enjoyed it more the second time.
I'm going again tomorrow night.
Like it's like I cannot stress enough that it is worth seeing it a second time. And a reason, like the first time I saw it, you know, I came where I was like, and I had this discussion with you, and I was like, you know, the issue with me for the film was the pacing and the editing.
Yeah.
Particularly in the first bit, I found it was a bit slow.
First hour.
But
was it?
yeah, for the first hour. But for me, I was like, why is this feeling off? Why isn't it connecting? And coming back to that, this book, I mean, when they announced this film, you know, we got a line from the back of this book, you know, and it's the whole, you know, I want you to know the one man who beat you.
Yeah,
That whole
that's-
speech. The speech from Batman.
That's what I was waiting for.
That's-
in
it's
the
like-
movie. I was wanting that.
There is so much in this film that has been pulled from this book, but the issue with, like, as much as, you know, I love this book and as much as revered as it is, there are a lot of elements from this book that don't carry over as cohesively into a film, as particularly now. I mean, this was written during the 80s, okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a
Like-
lot of...
Like the Nazis in this.
but,
It's the everything. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's
Is
like...
that
it's,
chick or is that a dude?
but, like...
I think doesn't matter. They're still beautiful with their swastika nipples.
But
Anyway.
I mean, yeah, like the things that I'm getting at with this is like, you've got that whole philosophical debate between, you know, Batman and Superman in this film particularly that is present in this, and you've got the whole thing about, you know, what's it mean to be a hero? What's, you know, the difference between, you know, a god and a man? What makes a man, and you know, there's all this debate in the film, and I like a lot. Reason I stress this is because a lot of it comes from in here, and you know, Zach is a huge fan of this book, and you know, it's like you know, you want to put as much into it as you can.
It feels a lot like Iron Man 2. It's
Yeah.
the whole, when you make God bleed, he's not really God anymore.
Yeah,
Which is direct paraphrase
that's it. I mean,
from Iron Man 2.
yeah, I mean, like I've seen people have issues with this Batman, particularly with how he behaves, but
The killing or...
and it's more the killing. It's like, but there's like, there's context there. You know, you see.
Yeah, I think that's kind of making a point. This is a Batman. Like I'm guessing at the start of Batfleck's career that we haven't seen.
Yeah, this is
he
old
probably
Batman.
he probably started off no killing, and then this is the point where we're at. Like, and then you see that in the film they make a point. Like he was starting to brand people.
That's
like
it.
that's a new thing that he's doing because he's getting more and more like cynical. He's getting tired of crime, and he says to Alfred, like, you can't stop crime. It
It's
just
weeds.
keeps coming. Yeah, it's
Pull
weeds.
one up, the other one comes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Alfred's like, you know, it's the whole what makes good men cruel sort of thing. You
Yeah.
know, he's at this point where, I mean, you see sort of at the start, you know, we get the origin with his parents, and then
I actually, at first, I like the origin was like, oh, this is good, and then I was like completely furious when he started, like the bat started lifting him up. I was mad. I was because I thought
that was
and then
more, yeah.
and then it's like, oh, this is a dream.
Yeah.
And then that I liked that. I liked
Yeah.
how we were getting into the psyche of Batman.
that's it, and that's
Especially because it's a Superman film, but you're seeing it through the eyes of Batman.
It did feel a little bit origin story like that.
It
Well,
did, but
you
it was
have
it was
to- you
an
have
it was a
to.
good way to be like, here's the origin, but it's like we've seen it so many times. Why are we seeing it? Because Batman's like
you
he's
need to understand.
Yeah,
he's,
that's
he's
Batman's
telling his
character.
like it's a dream that he's had, and then we see two more dreams. We have the one where his when Martha her grave starts bleeding. And then
Yeah.
you have the dark side dream.
Oh, and you've
That's
got the Flash dream as well.
Well, that's the dark
Yeah.
side dream.
Yeah, I honestly like people consider it as a separate dream. I'm like, that's all the same.
I mean, to be
I
honest,
feel like he had an inception. He had a dream within a dream.
I feel like
which it did,
that-
and that, you know.
that whole dream was over in a flash.
But
Another thing, well, just while we're here,
Yeah.
I feel like they really, because it's they're building a really intricate web, and I
Yeah.
really like that. But I feel like they do kind of like not spell it out, but just fill in slightly more blanks. I reckon from someone who doesn't watch Flash, who doesn't
Yeah.
know much about Flash, to a lot of people, I'd say they just think his Flash is the fastest man alive. They probably don't know he can time travel.
that's it.
Like just
I did-
slap an insignia, because all I was like red electricity. and time travel. Okay, that's
I did.
Flash. That's the only one.
I mean,
knew.
I totally did not get that was Flash.
Exactly.
I was like, what the?
like what the fuck just happened?
That's it.
I asked Jonathan straight
Like-
off, like, what was that? He's like, oh, that was Flash. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like, just if they whacked the insignia, I reckon it would have just been like, even though it doesn't look like the Flash because he's got his whole apocalyptic.
Well, I mean, he has like the actual like you've got the grooves in his.
Yeah.
face when it goes.
I think watching it for a second time, I'll be able to take that scene a lot more.
Yeah. That's why I'm really like pushing like watch it a second time because it will make sense.
How did you guys feel about the Justice League and the Wonder Woman tie-in? I felt like the movie wouldn't have gained or lost anything from taking that out. I feel
to be
like
honest,
You go first.
I feel like they could have put more in.
Yeah.
The whole scene with close to the end of the film with the kryptonite staff or spear, right? You know how they dump it into this pond? Is it just me, or does that whole like area look like it's been ripped out of Atlantis? Like it totally looked so Greek.
that
And
was
I
a
was
thing.
I was totally like
This
as
is where
soon as
Aquaman
Lois
come-
Lane, yeah, I was like Aquaman's totally coming in.
Yeah.
Even when Lois Lane falls in, Aquaman's totally coming in, and then he didn't appear. I'm like, that would have been like a seamless, like it would have been like it's a coincidence that he's there, but it's
Yeah.
also a coincidence that Superman landed on Earth. You know?
Because you know what? Considering that we got, marketing with Aquaman.
Yeah.
And
it's a
the
bit-
Flash is in this film more than he is.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Aquaman at the start when they're diving. For
Yeah.
that.
I
and I
actually
thought that
he
too.
was going to be in
I
there
just
as
feel
well.
like if this is what you're gonna do, like do it. Like
Yeah.
put them in. If you want to bring them together, put them in, and then that way,
Like the whole scene where
where they find the kryptonite, or
Wonder Woman's sitting there
the
checking her
computer.
emails. That took me out of the entire movie.
it took me out of the movie because she fucking read it like it one line at a time.
Yeah.
Like
That-
oh my
that-
god.
I saw criticisms that this movie wasn't clear. I was like, the only way they could have made it more clear is if they spelled it out on the screen, which they did in that like movie scene. Like,
So bad. But I've been telling people that I kind of viewed this movie as two movies. You've got the Batman vs Superman,
Yeah.
and then you've got the Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
Now, Dawn of Justice was just three people hitting a really big dude.
Yeah. Which I mean,
But-
like, look,
I would have considered Dawn of Justice just fucking Gal Gadot reading her emails. Oh, look,
But, I mean,
Flash
look-
responded to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got
He
to...
sent me a super like on Tinder.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you've got to start the Justice League, then you started with the Trinity. You started with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So before you get into that, it's like, I mean, look, I enjoyed the Doomsday fight.
I think it could have been longer.
Yeah.
I feel like there was too much prequel in that first hour, like too much build up. I liked that they actually spelled things out, so it wasn't just like, oh look, coincidence. But I like that. But I felt it went on a little too long. Like the scene where Lois is talking about the bullet. There's two scenes for that. One of them could have been cut.
Yeah, the first one I feel like it could have been cut.
Well,
Actually, there's a
it's-
few of them that
yeah.
could have been cut.
And
There's
it's
one
just
where
like
she gets
if-
shot down, and then there's one where she gives it, and then one where it wraps up as well. It's like you took 3 scenes to deliver what could have been done in one.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's more to like unravel, what Lex is doing behind the scenes, and it's like, okay, he's pulling these strings. He's trying to, from the start, he's been trying to.
I feel like they were really weak strings though. Like they could have tightened them up and done
Yeah,
a-
they could have had
it probably
better.
could have been more obvious, I guess.
Well, not more obvious, just better ones, like more interesting. Like who really cares about one bullet?
Yeah.
And then if it was something kind of bigger, like imagine, I don't know, like even though it doesn't make sense in this particular story, like a kryptonite lace bullet that's something green and glowing,
Yeah.
and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" Like
Yeah.
that would be something more to intrigue, and it's just a fancy.
and
look.
probably, yeah. I mean, I do like the idea that this has been going on since Man of Steel. Lex has been building this up since Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I like that. Just some of the scenes could have been tighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, and again, I feel like the Justice League, like just the emails, was just a really bad way to tie it in. I like the first scene when he like logs into Lex, and you can see each of the icons. You go, ah.
And I did like each of the video that he like watched.
Yeah.
I would
that
have
was
liked
good.
them. I would have
Yeah.
liked them at
Like-
different times, maybe not
Yeah.
just like not
Yeah,
just
I
in
agree with that.
succession.
Yeah.
I reckon that would have been good. Like,
I mean, I think it's like it's not the best way, but it's like it was enough. To
It took-
you
get
know what though? It was a
like,
different way.
Yeah.
It's something that we haven't seen before.
I reckon that
Yeah.
probably should have been maybe in that first hour, which was a bit slower pace. We could have seen it like a little bit more rather than like, oh right, this is about to be the boss fight, and we've completely been taken out. And it was like when we go, oh wait, we're still watching like a fight. Whoa.
Because I mean, the thing I do enjoy about this film is that, you know, it's the fact that you see like from the start, you know, you've got Batman, particularly with Batman's character, you know, the Batman that he starts out as at the start of the film is very different to where he ends up at the end
Yeah.
of the film. You know, at the end, you know, he's a leader. You know, he's ready to get the
At the end, he's completely like the opposite of what we've come to know as Batman, who's someone
Yeah.
who works alone. He's going, we need to team up.
Yeah, because like the thing people don't really understand and they haven't really liked about this film is they're like, you know, Superman isn't acting like Superman. Batman's not acting like Batman. I'm like, that's the fucking point. Like that's what the point of the movie is. You're seeing them come from this one point. You know, Superman at the start. You know, he's confused. He's not sure of himself. He's trying to, you know,
Fit in.
be this hero, but. And you know they've said
he's-
this multiple times
Like,
in the
that's-
interviews.
it's so obvious when you
Like-
watch the movie as well that it's about how he's trying to be a hero, but
he's
he just keeps
becoming
getting
the Superman that everyone knows. If he was the Superman, the perfect, you know, invincible Superman that everyone knew, this movie would be fucking over in 5 minutes. Like, there's
And I
no
think-
room for his character to
Well, I
grow.
think that's we finally see what like the Superman, like the personality of the Superman
Yeah.
that will be the definitive Superman was like right at the end when he decided like,
That's
okay,
it.
this is what I need to do.
That's it.
I can barely fly holding this thing, but like he becomes such a beacon of good.
Yeah, exactly.
He finally,
Like the
he becomes the
moments-
symbol of hope that is on his
like the
chest.
moment.
One
you go.
one quick thing about that spear scene. I would have liked to see a point where that spear actually broke, which actually meant that he had to drive it into Doomsday rather than
Well,
like
see,
he could have
yeah.
he could have maybe stood at a difference and gone, "Hey, Batman, put this in one of your gadgets, fire that at top speed and velocity right through the heart of that thing."
Well, see, the thing is, in this, they actually punch each other to death, rather than actually do any spearing business. But
Yeah, I feel like it is better than the whole punching to death.
but I think it adds a bit
Also,
more
I would have liked.
flash to the scene.
I mean, also going back to where we should have thought we should have seen Aquaman hand the spear, or at least save Lois. That whole point where she throws it in the water, kind of.
Yeah, for starters, I'm like, why are you doing that? And then what really made me angry is when Doomsday shows up, she just knows that she needs to get the kryptonite spear again. She just knew. She was like, oh, okay, that big, ugly thing, that's clearly General Zod. Like, no. How did she get that?
Or that it runs on the same weakness as my dearly beloved.
Yeah, clearly. Why not? That's
Like
just
I,
science.
that whole scene,
To be
could've been
honest,
cut.
I'm
I would have preferred cutting that in favor for the communion scene,
like,
which is the deleted scene.
yeah,
that we
true.
just
Yeah.
were watching.
Honestly, Gabby, don't hit me. I reckon less Lois would have been better for this film. Like,
Yeah.
I did like that she was trying to be.
Like she's doing something.
She is doing something. She's not useless. She's not exactly a damsel in distress. Like, and the times that she is, it's like really forced. Like, 2 out of 3 times, it's Lex on purpose. And you know, I was reading today 6 reasons why Batman vs Superman is stupid. And one of the reasons was that Superman always magically appears when Lois Lane is in danger. And I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. Because he loves her.
That's
He's
it.
literally like tuned.
That's
to
the character. That's the characters. That's the characters. It doesn't.
I reckon a lot of the backlash of this movie is people like
Not
weren't
understanding.
like it's The Dark Knight. Like not the movie. The movie was beautiful and
Yeah.
amazing. But I mean like Batman in that, he was like, it's the one that we like need but not deserve kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like this is, I kind of feel like this. Like you've seen the like what was it, Rotten Tomatoes? It was
Which
sitting at
people
30.
buy, can I point out, no one knows how Rotten Tomatoes works.
Yeah,
No one knows how that website works. The percentage,
is completely like
if you have a look just underneath, it actually has the rating.
yeah. But anyway, so on Rotten Tomatoes it has like 32% critics,
Yeah.
but then something like 79% 79% for viewers.
Yeah. I mean,
And it's just like,
huge.
so clearly
That's the thing that's
we're not
really,
getting a
like, that's the thing that's really just bogging my mind with this, is like the disconnect between, I mean, not that I'd rather us talk about our reactions, but
Ooh, that's rough, buddy.
that's rough. But like, there's such a clear disconnect here between what audiences are getting out of this and what critics are getting out of it, and it's like, well, like there's a lot more to it. And I feel like people are taking away from it. I mean, audiences are seeing something that, critics clearly didn't, and I feel like
That didn't.
I feel like someone on Facebook's just gonna, cause
Get
okay,
that.
so Ben's just made me vote 5 out of 5 for Batman vs Superman. I feel like I'm gonna get,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna get back. Like I wouldn't give it 5 out of 5, but I do think it's a good film.
yeah,
I do think it has.
I was wondering if I could actually adjust the score meter straight up.
No,
maybe.
apparently not.
That's it.
Like it does have a few sequences that leave more to be desired, but the
Yeah.
thing is that shouldn't negate all the excellent sequences that we do get.
There are a lot of good,
Like there's a lot of really good ones, and
There was-
someone was saying, hang on, I'm having a blank. Is it Jesse Eisenberg? Yeah, like someone was saying he's like wasn't a good Lex, and I'm like, did you watch the same film? Because that was like. That was one of the centerpiece. It was really good.
I
felt-
second time going through, I enjoyed him. Because I understood where he was starting from, where he was going. So I did enjoy watching Jesse the second time.
I feel like it was a little too chaotic.
Yeah, a little too chaotic.
But
Like
once
I would
you-
like for
yeah.
him to have started. Like you
Like,
can
at
tell
the
from
end-
the get go he's been like insane forever.
But
because
there's a point clearly like the second half of the film, like he gets crazier.
Oh,
But that's
definitely.
Like, I
But there is a reason.
I understand the craziness at the end of it, seeing that communion scene
Yeah.
where he is talking to one of Darkseid's lackeys, or
Yeah.
generals.
'Cause we-
Like he
yeah.
he suddenly realizes how infinitesimally small he is in the entire universe, and how much that whatever he does doesn't actually matter.
yeah.
So I do understand it from that sort of point of view. Like I was saying, some things could have been done better,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. She had, what was it, 12 lines in total?
I mean, I prefer, again, I prefer to the second time through, because it's the whole point is her trying to get this photograph from Lex. She's like, he's got something there.
Like
that's
she
mine.
literally doesn't care,
She doesn't care. She just wants that photo back.
and
I
then
don't
it's not
understand that.
until
well, because he's got a photo of her identity.
In World War One.
Yeah, and she's 100 years. It's been 100 years since World War One.
No one's going to put this together that it's the same person. Like,
Yeah.
what in
In,
all
like,
likelihood,
in-
it's like, oh wow, you've got a doppelganger.
Well, I mean, it's not like, again, it's not like, he's sharing this information around. I mean, he's got files on the other Justice League members. But still, I mean, as Wonder Woman, she's going to want that back.
yeah, I think it's more of just
Once it's digital,
what
you
she's
can't
what
get
she's
it back.
used.
Though.
Yeah,
it's
but
digital. There's no getting that back.
I was gonna
Well,
say
it's
it's probably
it's encrypted
it's something
on
that
his
she's
files.
like used to as like an Amazonian, probably like used to hiding themselves, like burying their tracks, kind of thing. So I reckon it's more of a force of habit than anything. Like maybe she's
Yeah.
pretty old. Maybe she doesn't really get technology. She's like, if I take this.
She's been around the
uses
block a
email.
while.
I really liked that email though. Just like I'm imagining Bruce Wayne sassing it up like this photo doesn't like belong to you. It is you. And like
You
I'm just
are you.
imagining like emojis like
smiley face.
Hey,
That smiley
Like upside down. bat
Batmoji.
smile.
She's like,
see, boys do share kissy face emoji.
But I've the problem is that this is such an impossibly large movie that Zack Snyder's had to like say things to add on things like after it, which back at Man of Steel people were going, why didn't you put a post-credit scene? And he's like, because I like having the stories contained in it. But this is such a large project that he's
there's so
it's
much in this
spilling
film.
out of the thing. They have to upload deleted scenes. He's like, I don't think people are asking him. I think he's just flat out like going up to anyone who's listening and just going, this, by the way, like,
Man,
I think he was explaining, I forget what it's called, the box for Cyborg.
Yeah, the mother
And
box.
it's also, no, thank you, the mother box. And then it's also in the disciple scene.
Yeah.
So that's somehow links the two. Like,
Because that's the thing. It's like all this stuff is meant to be, it's meant to be confusing because they're teasing it for future.
yeah.
I feel like
film.
it should have been. It's still too direct to be like teasing it. It's like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
Cyborg, by the way.
But I mean, you look like I
There-
like.
there is Flash. You literally, he's called the Red Streak in some of those files.
I know, but I mean, I'm just like I see this. I actually see this film closer to Ultron in my opinion because
Yeah, I do.
Because like Ultron, Ultron got bogged down because it was also it set up Civil War. It was setting up Thor Ragnarok with all the Thor dreams
Yeah.
and everything. Infinity War. It had all these other things, and that really kept it down. But I see the same thing happening with this. I mean, I didn't have an issue with the.
It's almost like it makes it worse as a film when you're looking at as a standalone,
Yeah.
right? But then as an experience, and then when in the future when we're adding everything else into it, it's going to be much
gonna
better.
click.
And I reckon once like Aquaman's come out, and because again Zack Snyder had to say like basically what's going to happen now is Batman's basically Nick Fury. He's gonna be
he's
like,
gonna get
can
the
you please
Justice
like
League.
join the team?
Can what do you guys think of Justice League being set for a lighter tone?
I would
Let's
have.
start. Let's start our
I'm
franchise
happy
on a
with-
on a
I'm-
lighter tone with the death of a core character.
Yeah, I'm happy
Even though he
with
didn't really die, but
I'm happy
Well-
with like they said Aquaman's gonna be lighter, but I reckon it should lighten up. I reckon each like individual movie should lighten up. But
Well,
then
I
I think
mean,
I think
yeah.
with Justice League they should bring the tone back to serious tone, because it's only like a cataclysmic event that requires all 7 of the members to like show up. That's gonna be such an event that I think they need to show how serious it is.
Yeah,
like
I
they
mean,
can't make
yeah.
that light. And I know that the Flash, he's a very like
He is comedic
yeah,
relief. He is.
and it's gonna be like the Avengers, how you're gonna have like all these serious moments, but then you're gonna have like a few funny bits like stuck into it, and that's good. But I reckon for the Justice League, like for Dawn of Justice, this is a serious tone, and then for Justice League, I think that should be serious.
yeah.
But the
I mean, we've known
little films in between, like Wonder Woman, I reckon she should be, she should really hammer in the I'm an independent Amazonian woman that don't need no man, and that's it's got comedic value, it's got serious political statement value, and
I mean, you look at Suicide Squad already has a tone of
and
tone.
that's in
that's
the
like a
DCU, isn't it?
dark, funny tone.
Yeah, but it's still
they had the Queen in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, you've
music.
still got all the eye-popping, colors everywhere, and it look like already from the trailer. Like if you compare the Suicide Squad trailer to BBS trailers, like they look like.
Completely different.
I mean, they're in the same universe, but I mean, it's like, I feel like you look at Man of Steel. Like Man of Steel's a science fiction movie. It's about first contact. So I reckon I mean I wouldn't be surprised if talks are happening now going we're gonna have, and I mean we kind of knew that Justice League would be lighter anyway. I remember we had the screenwriter going, BVS is intended to be the darker
one. Well, hey, we've got our Han Solo and Carbonite right now. That's it.
That's basically it, you know? But I mean, I hope they don't spend too long in Justice League, like, bringing him back.
I kind of think that, like, we should have it as a subplot that doesn't influence the other characters too much, and, like, that their actions somehow, like,
It's like a
manage...
Like, it's like a Gandalf the White moment.
Yeah, and, like, that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And I'd be... Or, you know, another thing could be the plot twist that they're, like... Lex Luthor's got his labs running, and then, like, they go in, and, like, there's Superman tied up. Like, he's still got the hole in his outfit, and the green kryptonite lights are on, and he's stuck, and he's a shriveled, deformed man.
Yeah.
And then that's the moment where they, like, you know, I presume Lois has a moment, because I have a feeling they're going to be keeping her in.
Are we going to be seeing the women of DC find their way into all these films? So not just the standalones, but the joint movies, like Avengers. Avengers
Avengers
1 had Pepper,
and then
because Robert Downey demanded her.
Yeah, he fought for it. And in the second one, they did reference them, but they weren't there. So
and I feel like the girls of Marvel sort of feel a little bit meatier in sort of character development and what you can do with them. So
Spanish, especially that was actually me putting the words especially and Gwyneth, especially Pepper.
Yep.
Because like she's had her own arc, you know, getting to run the business and then getting Extremis. Yeah.
Not to mention Jane Foster. Foster is Thor.
Yeah, but I mean, see, Jane Foster still hasn't really done much. Like, she's not.
No, she hasn't had a chance to do much.
Yeah,
yeah. It's not like we're not going to see Natalie Portman rock up in an Avengers movie.
Not anytime soon. I hope one day.
I think yeah.
But I mean, Lois didn't have much to this so far.
She was in it a lot. She was in it a lot.
But what did she?
She didn't achieve much.
Yeah, the only
she didn't achieve much, and we could have almost handed her role off to almost anyone else.
Like I said, it's a Superman movie, but it's like based from Batman's point of view.
Yeah.
So that's why she's in it a lot, because she is his world, you know. And then the only thing that she really managed to do was, you know, get stuck thrice.
Once of her own accord.
Yeah. And conveniently get there just in time to let Batman know that their mum has the same name and they can be best friends now.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the Wonder Woman film is going to, like, it is an origin story, and it is going to fill in a lot of the
Is it
blanks.
going to be like origin story from like way back, or like origin story based in this present day?
I kind of hope that they'll kind of...
It's going to lead into...
Although, like, people kind of have a dig at the Man of Steel, how it kind of goes, like, back and forth a lot.
Which,
I kind of hope they do that for Wonder Woman. Yeah. I hope that she has a present story and a past story, and that
like
they kind
the
of...
Deadpool movie?
And then they do really... And then they match up at the end.
It's like I watched Man of Steel again, and I was like, you know what? It actually does offer an interesting take on how you explain his origin, rather than just do the old Christopher Reeve, where it's like he's a kid and then builds off from that.
We can only get an origin story so many times. Like, do you know how happy I am that we're not getting like
a whole
Spider-Man origin story, and that they've said
Batman origin story?
Yeah,
because it's done. It's done.
It was done in the first 15 minutes.
It was, more or less. Yeah. And you know what? But the thing is, you don't... How long is it going to take Hollywood to realize that they don't need to give us an origin story? We don't, like... Sure, sometimes we like to, and you know what? That's going to be good sequel bait.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but we don't need to know how they got their powers anymore. No, exactly. Like, just present it. Like, here's the thing. Flash, we don't know how he got his powers.
Well,
do we really care?
Well, Cyborg.
Now we know.
That was an origin story in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and
it's great.
was quick.
I mean,
And then
we
you
could have
put in-
we could have had more information about who was who.
Yeah, and
maybe-
like what the mother box was, but then that
I feel
deleted
that
scene.
That's coming up. That's,
Yeah, like that deleted scene also adds in. So if they kept that in, took out a Lois Lane scene, and then you'd be like, "Hey, that's the box from before." Oh, what he got? Or like it just would have made.
See, I
It
mean,
would have pulled in more. Like
they could have
there's-
cut out the scene where Lois Lane gets into the water, and when Superman goes to save her, we honestly probably wouldn't be surprised. We'd be
I
like,
do-
"What the fuck did you do? now?
I do want to ask.
How did you fall into a hole
You know
with water?"
You know what?
Wait,
I don't even need to
I
question
don't,
this.
yeah, I
It's-
don't need
This
to
is
know.
so.
I do want to ask the nightmare scene, but the big
Oh, the dark side one.
the dark side
Like the
one.
Superman army.
Yeah, because I mean that's like Injustice.
Yeah,
that's injustice.
so that's
Is
that's
that
the idea.
is that a teaser for what could happen? Are we going to see?
I think
That's the
I think
speculation. It's like
I'm thinking that was what may have happened in the events of this film. Like I'm thinking, like if somehow Lois died or Martha died,
Or
that it would have made Superman snap, and then
Yeah.
Superman, and it would have been Injustice: Gods Among Us storyline where
Could we see
Superman.
two different storylines where when DC puts out one movie alternating on two different?
Well, to be honest, I reckon what they should do,
That could be cool.
like with what they've got right now, how they've got the TV, a like universe, and they're having the movie universe. I reckon honestly, what they should just do is they should just say, actually, like, the TV one is the better timeline because like Flash, like all Flash really worries about is who he's putting his dick in.
yeah.
Like that's the plot is that it's just because of the network that it's on, and same with Arrow.
The old CW.
And is Supergirl on?
No.
CBS.
No, yeah,
Mind you,
but they can,
the
they are
crossover
crossing
just
over, which is
happened,
good.
yeah. That was a good
And so they
crossover,
can have like in the movie, or no, in the TV show, like they should still go like, hey, you know, I'm Supergirl, my cousin's still alive.
Yeah,
Like,
well, they do.
Remember when he fought Doomsday, and he lived, and they all lived, and that was good.
Well, they do actually.
And they could do something like that.
I watched the crossover today, and they do explain the multiverse in some
Yeah,
way.
they do. Well, because that's what Flash has really been going
That's
hard on
what
lately.
that's what the Flash is. Yeah.
I was actually, when you showed me the because you snap storied it, I was looking at it. It looks a lot like the cast of New Girl, like budget New Girl. I was like, hang on, what?
That's what they shows are.
That's yeah, well, that's what they are. But
And that's why I'm
can't
like,
complain.
whenever I see the whole thing, it's like, oh, we should get Grant Gustin in the movies. I'm like, the show, the tones and the shows, they're so different.
yeah, but that's what I'm
I
saying.
do, I
is
do,
that's,
I
that-
do want to see Grant Gustin.
I do like.
I
love
do.
Grant,
I love Grant Gustin.
But I'm just
he
thinking
is a
that's-
fantastic actor. I do want him to take on a darker Flash in the movies.
But I mean, I do want to see Ezra.
and I do want to see Ezra. I want to see both of them do the Flash in the movies
Yeah.
like
at
they
the same
could.
time.
Like they could multiverse exactly.
I'm Barry.
I'm
Barry.
Oh, that's in one of the cartoons where Lex Luthor somehow swaps minds with the Flash, and he's like, "Finally, I get to know who the Flash is." I have no idea who this is. But that's my point. Is the TV shows are much lighter. You could have it as the light timeline, and then you can take the movies and go with the darker timeline, and then you could somehow amalgamate the two eventually and have a medium timeline where you can still have the nitty gritty, but you can also have the, you know, Flash worrying about who he's going to take to prom.
What did you guys think of Wonder Woman? Big question, big controversy. What did you guys think of that?
I felt she was a bit like stale. Like she didn't like her.
Was that
the
the-
things she said wasn't too much. Like, is that Wonder Woman or is that the actress? Like,
Is that the writing? Because, like I said, she only got about 12
Yeah.
lines. She didn't get a lot of
But
freedom in this movie. She
I
didn't
was
get a lot
very-
of time to show
who she?
Wonder-
Yeah.
But
And-
I feel
and
like
I said
yeah.
before, like we could have taken some of Wonder Woman's scenes out, and the movie wouldn't have been more or less
I
impacted.
know.
But the
I
thing
do- I
is,
do
I'm
feel
glad
like-
what they did put in, like that airplane scene. Like, while you could say, like, why is that in there? What I really didn't like in the trailer was that she really appeared out of nowhere. But now, in
Yeah.
in the movie we've got that she was there
Yeah.
and she was there for her own reasons, and just as she's about to skedaddle, she like looks out the window and it's just kind of like, well,
Like that's
Fix
what I
up
said.
this shit now.
That's what I said before. Like, this movie did a lot of things right, and making sure that there wasn't like, I'm sure there's coincidences that CinemaSins is going to point out,
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
but it didn't have the Amazing Spider-Man 2 coincidences where, like, the Oscorp elevators just, oh, what a coincidence. They just happened to be in the same building,
Yeah.
in the exact same elevator, multiple times.
I was thinking they could have thrown in more coincidences because of how many things like seemed to web together really well.
Yeah.
Like they could have had Aquaman, because the setting itself looked very Atlantic. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he could just show up and be like, oh, this is a special like there's a trigger here
Yeah.
that whenever something enters it, like I know, and then I saw that it was a Kryptonian like spear that really got my attention, so I'm here. And then the Flash could be like, well, actually, I was in New Jersey, but you know, I'm the Flash.
Yeah, I saw this on the news like 5 seconds ago.
and same with like Cyborg, he could just be like, well, you know,
I was scanning
I'm
every
pretty much like,
linked into everything ever.
I decided, you know, I wanted to get here quick, so using my mother box, I made myself a jetpack. I'm here. It's gone now because that's like what my superpower is. Like they don't even need to like spell.
Why didn't Batman just CC in all of them? He's got all the data from Black Scorp. He could just CC'd them on all the, like, into the email.
Where's Green Arrow based?
What, Starling City?
Oh yeah, like Star something.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking because
Yeah, the Flash could have picked him up along the way.
yeah, exactly. Well, for starters, like where's Supergirl? She can fly pretty fast.
That's
Like,
true.
It's just
Just throw everyone in.
you gotta. But the thing with all these like really superpowered people is you gotta ask, like, it's not really coincidence when, especially later on when they've formed, and what's it called, the Justice Tower,
Yeah.
the satellite. It's just like
Yeah. Well, the bases.
if there's a problem on the planet, you just done.
Yeah.
Everyone's there.
Yeah.
Like you don't even need to
Quick.
say like for the majority, you don't even need to say Avengers Assemble. You just kind of
Materialize.
you just kind of be like, hey, and then they'll be like, hey.
We're all
This-
here. We're
like-
all thinking the same thing.
Just, how'd you know that I needed you? With my super hearing. What about you? Super hearing. What about you? Well, actually, I was playing Xbox for a while, but then I time traveled because I can do that.
Oh, how'd you know? I own that motherfucking satellite. I can see everything in real time.
Bruce, what about you? Because I'm Batman.
No, actually, I was channel surfing and I just happened to.
Yeah, just
Flick on.
The only criticism I've heard of Wonder Woman, which I can kind of get behind, is she's supposed to be Amazonian. She's supposed to have a little bit more muscle and a little bit like more filled out. And Gal Gadot kind of looked a little skinny in some scenes.
Yeah, but
and there
I
was
mean,
not to mention there was a scene where we almost got her full frontal pussy.
Yeah, but I mean.
It's like one more slip of that like little thing you're wearing, and this would have been an R18 movie like that in Australia.
Well, no, I mean, it's like I didn't really have an issue with like I loved her in the Doomsday fight. I thought she was great.
like I feel
Yeah,
like
no,
that's a
I thought-
mainly aesthetic issue.
Yeah,
like
that's the only one I can like understand. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things like, oh, she was boring. It's like she got 12 lines. She didn't get much chance to
Yeah,
express
she-
herself.
There's gonna be
I think
like,
one of
there's
those,
gonna- yeah.
at least 3 of those lines were a sigh.
I mean, you're about to sign now. I mean, there's gonna be so much of what she's doing explained in this new Wonder Woman film. Like, there's gonna be like it's all gonna come up, and you know, it's a lot of that's all gonna make sense. But you know, I enjoyed watching her in the Doomsday fight. I think, I mean, that's more particularly towards I think the directing in terms of the action scenes. It's like, you know, it was entertaining to watch her, you know, fucking leap at bloody Doomsday, like,
But-
chopping off his leg and his arm, like.
I've got a question. Can you tell that like Hans Zimmer was like, oh yeah, I'll do Superman and Batman. You can and then Junkie, you can have Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman was just like Mad Max, just like
And how much the nightmare sequence? Like, how much of that was Mad Max?
It was
Essentially was.
It-
Minus, like, cars.
I mean, I like the one thing I really do love about this movie was the score and the music of this.
That's the thing. I've just decided Hans Zimmer, Junkie XL. They're like, if they did
Great
the score,
marriage.
it's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
If you want tears, you put John Powell in there.
Yeah, or if you just want a timeless classic, John Williams.
John Williams.
There you go. or Danny Elfman if you like discount John Williams.
Yeah, if you want like a TV show theme, go to.
Yeah.
All right, final thoughts.
Again, I really enjoyed this film. I still feel like people are too harsh, and I feel like definitely please go see it again. Again, there's a lot from this book that I feel Zach is trying to put into this film, and
That is
The Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns.
by Frank Miller.
And if you don't like reading, they have a pretty good movie of it.
I'm
pretty sure it's on
There's a
Netflix.
two-part animated feature, so you can watch that if you want. And again, there's a lot of that doesn't translate as well to film. And those are some of the bits that are in BVS, and they don't quite work here with the pacing. But overall, as something that is meant to kickstart a series of films, it does a fine job of it. I was entertained. Like anyone who's going off saying, "Oh, it wasn't fun," it was fun. I had fun watching it.
All right, what was your final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought is it was fun. Like it's there are bad moments, but there are great moments, and the bad ones definitely do not take away too much. The good definitely outweighs the bad. But the thing is, like, a lot of people are expecting a Superman movie, a lot of people are expecting a Batman movie, a lot of people are expecting the Avengers, and that's the problem is that they're expecting. And I reckon they should just sit back, take what they know about.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna say about DC, but take what you know about superheroes in general. Like, just leave it aside and just enjoy it.
Yeah, take it for what it is. It's meant to be something different. You're meant to have be given this new perception. Look at the arcs for Superman and Batman. They end up being completely different characters by the end, and it is an interesting take.
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
thing is,
appeal to everyone, but
yeah, a lot of people, I reckon they're trying to put what they wanted, and then they're not getting that, so that they're not liking it. But that's the thing is that, like, if you don't like the fact that Batman's killing people, then that's like your problem is that you're sticking to that and you're not having an open mind for that. This is a Batman who's grown
Different to
cynical and he's different.
All right, my
Well, I mean, that's what happened in the movie.
Well, my final thoughts was there's some things that they could have changed. I felt like certain scenes were a little too pushed, like the email scene with the Justice League. I feel like
slowest scrolling of mankind.
I feel like Gal Gadot could have been utilized more. I feel like she might have been crammed in as a 2 last-minute thing to like try build up hype. That's why we didn't see many lines from her. She was a little instrumental in the fight scene, but we could have had that fight scene without her. It probably would have worked. I feel like those scenes were a little bit last minute and thrown in, and I didn't like that. I feel like they could have utilized cameos better. I mean, they could have done a Stan Lee cameo at any point and just had Ezra Miller walking along in the background. Otherwise, it was a good film. I'm going to go see it again tomorrow night. I would have liked to see more Batman versus Superman rather than a Batman beatdown with a brand of a fucking kryptonite spear.
I really liked how the fight wasn't like 50-50. It was either one of them's 100%.
Yeah.
Or like just in
I
my mind right now when he's like wailing on Superman and like each punch Superman's like get recoiling less and less until eventually it's like punching a wall. That was like
I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see a little bit
like a more even playing field for longer kind of thing.
Not even more open playing field, just more of a fight, more of like made it felt like
that's what they said.
something was actually.
That's what they said. Director's cut.
Yep.
Like, I reckon in the director's cut, Batman's like, because I think in this movie he's got like 5 canisters.
Ooh.
3, I remember.
Yeah.
The last one being used on Doomsday.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting too excited.
Yeah.
Like maybe, yeah, but maybe in the director's cut he's like, packing 20, and like 19 get used on Superman.
I'm taking out all you Kryptonian bastards.
Like 19 get used on Superman, and
Yeah.
it's just
Alright.
like a brutal beating.
Awesome.
What's your score out of 10?
I've 7 out of 10 is what
I was gonna say 7.5.
Oh.
I'll give it a solid 6. So what have we got? We've got a 7. Got a 7.5. And what did I say it was? 6. So we got a nice 20 out of 5 out of 30.
Yeah,
That's pretty solid.
It's pretty solid.
It's pretty solid. Thank you for coming.
This has been our Batman vs Superman
Hopefully-
Spoilercast.
Hopefully we'll see more of these or things like this in the future. Let us know.
And we'll
You know, the
hopefully
usual
keep
like,
doing it.
subscribe, follow.
Follow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.